What's up, guys? This is Mr. Unspeakable speaking again from the woods of Michigan. Today is November 1st, 2025. And officially today, I believe the food stamps, the people that are supposed to get food stamps, many millions of people, they're supposed to get food stamps will, I believe, not get their benefits this month. To me, that it's definitely disgusting, unbelievable, and very just corrupt. I believe that everybody has a right to have to feel good, to be able to go to a doctor and I have thousands of dollars of bills coming in your mail. I believe that every single person in this country has a right to eat. It's everybody's right, whether you're rich or poor. But I don't believe that it's our right to starve. And it is very sad that right now, as I'm speaking to you, many millions of kids are going hungry. Folks, we have just given Argentina billions of dollars. For what? To who? We have given Israel billions of dollars to support the war against Palestine and all those innocent children, men and women who are not guilty at all. I mean, I know I'm the refugee. I've been there. I've done that. I know what it's like to run away from your home. I had to run away from my home. And it certainly came in a time in my life where I was supposed to have the most fun. Where I was supposed to hang out with my friends and not have to worry about leaving forever and going somewhere else, someplace totally unfamiliar. Right now I'm writing a book. It's called the Yugoslavia Manifesto. And I'm about 400 or more pages into it. It is about basically how I got here and on. But what I wanted to say is, it is unbelievable when you think about this. I mean, we are spending trillions of dollars on the military, basically. Um, we are helping other countries, which is okay. It's not a bad thing. It's good to help others. But the fact is, we never help us. You see, our government seems to never want to get too close to its own people and help its own people in times of need. I mean, Trump has power. Obviously, he'll do whatever he wants, right? I mean, how long do you think it would have taken him just to say, hey, I want this to end. I want this to end right now, right this minute. And I'm sure it would have ended right there and then when he says, I mean, I've been to food banks before. I've been in a situation in my life before where I have to look for quarters, dimes, nickels to buy myself food before I had children and after I had children. And even now, at times. I mean, I've just had a job and I just made this in a video yesterday and I was talking about how I got a job 2 months ago and I literally lost my job right before my son's birthday, right before the food stamp crisis, right before holidays, before Christmas, before Thanksgiving, before Halloween. And the people that have fired me are the same people that have tried to convince me that they're great people. And most of them are women who are in charge, who are religious, who go to church, take these photos on their Facebook with other friends hugging each other, showing love to each other, and they want the world to know that they're uh, the ones with a good heart. They're the ones that they want to help out, right? But then yet they fired me right when I need the money the most, and I did nothing wrong. They just did it purely out of hate and nothing else. I mean, of course, I confronted them on a couple of issues, like, hey, why do you smoke and leave cigarette butts all over the store, which half of them are lit up, or um, why do those in charge come into work smelling like alcohol, things like that, right? I mean, I brought it up a few times, and I believe that's why I was fired, because they didn't want anybody, interfering with their comfort zone. Right? It's their comfort zone to do whatever they want, to be mature, even though that's not the reality of being a manager or being someone that's involved in serious business. And I remember when I was a kid, and I'm speaking now for all the kids in the United States. When I was a kid, when I was in my teens, 13, 14, 15, somewhere around there, I mean, we weren't the richest country in the world, by all means. Nowhere near. 26 million people, country that's, um, you know, that has been functioning great on communism and socialism, let's say. I mean, Josip Broz Tito was our president, and many would agree that he was a dictator, right? No, he wasn't a dictator. He was a great, great guy who fought on the side of his people, who loved his people, who loved his country, and did everything that he can to make sure that we are not hungry, that we have clothes to wear, that our schools have everything that we need inside of them, like doctors and food, good food, and dentists and stuff like that, right? And that's what we had. I remember going to school right before the war. I would probably say about a year and a half before. I think it was like a 1990, 1989, 1990. I think I was about 13 and a half. And I've always had amazing teeth. Always. I mean, I still have pretty decent teeth now, but back then, my parents paid taxes, um, a little more taxes than probably what you guys are paying here today. If we were to transfer, the value of the money back then today to this money, um, but we the money came directly out of my father's and my mother's paycheck, right? But then we had everything, you know. I could have taken the little medical booklet that we had. It's a little like a medical card we had, kind of like here, but it looks more like a passport, like a mini passport. And every time you go to a doctor, they just kind of stamp it, you know, they date it. It just says that you were there, and that's all. You walk out of there. You don't have to pay for anything. You don't owe anything because you're paying a little more in taxes, right? Every other day, I believe, or 3 times a week, right before the classes in the morning, we would go. It was almost a must that we had to go to the dentist first, and then go to the classes. Why? Because they wanted to make sure that we have nice teeth, that we are not in pain, that we don't have toothache or cavities or anything like that. Then when we go, we had a school doctor who, would every other day they would check your blood pressure, they would check your physical, they would take your blood. Basically they'll do like a kind of like a checkup, you know. The doctor would come with one of those what do you call them, stethoscopes or whatever they are. They would check like your heartbeat, your lungs, your stomach, and to make sure that you're okay. Our school had that, and it was a tiny little school. I mean, we didn't have more than, I'd say, maybe 200 students, maybe, if that. And it was well funded by the government. We had um, good food, and then also every other day we would have to go visit a dentist in the morning. You come in there, you knock on the door, you sit in a chair. They just check all your teeth, make sure you don't have any cavities, ask you if you have any pain anywhere. If you do have cavities, you know, they would do an X-ray and you know, they would just fix it. Make an appointment for next time. They would fix it, and you wouldn't have any bills coming to your house. That's kind of like what I see. Um, that it would be good for people to have over here in schools. I think it would be very important for kids in schools to have doctors and to have dentists. Um, and I think that some schools do. Here in Michigan, I think they have practitioner. I think they have nurses in some schools here. Not doctors, but nurses, I think. I'm not sure. I think here where we live, there was a school where my son went to, and I remember he had like a cold one time, and he went to the office, and they took his temperature and stuff like that. And I don't know if the lady was a doctor or not, but maybe she just was a teacher. I don't know, but I was told that she was a nurse, which is good. Um, and also something that I really noticed recently that I haven't noticed before, which is a good thing. I think they just started doing that. I'm not sure if it's going on in your state or not, but here in Michigan, like in more of a suburban areas, if you live somewhere away from like a hospital or something like that, they would have these traveling nurses who drive these medical cars um, that are equipped with everything that they need in case of emergency, and they would just kind of drive around the neighborhoods and make sure nobody has like an emergency call or something like that, to help someone in need if they need it, like right there then, right? So they don't have to drive 20 minutes to get to a hospital, right? So that's a very good thing, and that's something that they've just started doing recently. Um, I mean, I remember my folks. They had my dad had every year he got 1 month vacation, paid vacation, right? And so did my mother. They both did, right? We never had. I don't. I don't remember us having any bills. Definitely not medical bills. We did have rent, right? But I think everything was included in the rent. But we didn't have medical bills. Food was extraordinarily cheap, and the medical bills were non-existent. So that way we didn't have to go bankrupt trying to pay the medical bills. Like right now, millions of people are gonna be hungry, and not all 42 million, but probably thousands, many thousands, if not millions of people are gonna end up on the street. I mean, if you have to go and take the money from your rent to buy food, then you won't be able to pay the rent. If you are um, have to take the money from your house insurance or from your savings, or even I've even seen people take money from their kids' savings. Like mother and father would take money from their children's savings because they just didn't have a choice, right? I mean, those are just things. It's just when you think about it, it's just so cruel, so it's just really hard to believe that this is happening right now in 2025. And I'm not on anybody's side politically. I've never been really big into politics. I've always believed that American politics are pretty boring. There's a lot going on, but it's pretty boring. Uh, American politics are very disastrously messy and all over the place. And it is a shame that you are not allowed to talk about politics. Um, People will get angry if you say something against Trump or something against Biden or something against Obama, or we should be able to say whatever we want to say. You know, everybody's got an opinion. They should be able to express it, you know, without others getting jacked angry and trying to kill another person just because they have beliefs, you know, they believe in something that could possibly help everyone, right? I mean, Donald Trump, he's an old man. I don't believe that he's a terrible person. I do believe that he has heart, but you see, he is not the one that controls the government. I think he's being controlled by others, and he's doing what others are telling him to do, just like president before him and the president before him. And like I said yesterday, that's why I feel like it's very important to take money out of politics. It's just really not necessary. There's no need for money to be in the politics. There's just no need for it to be in the politics at all. Why can't we just have regular elections with no politics, no lobbyists, and we would have a much better country? And our choices, uh, as far as like us having more choices when it comes to younger, better people to be presidents would be much broader, much bigger. There will be more people running for presidents, younger, older, but probably more younger than older, and there will be more people running for president. You'll have more choices. But it seems to me like you can only run for president if you have a lot of money, and that's not good, right? Because then choices are being limited to just, let's say, one person or two people. Well, if we cut the money out of politics, we could have had a dozen different people that we can choose from to be a president. I don't know. I guess it's just me. I grew up differently. You guys are growing up differently here. I mean, I could say for myself that I'm American. Um, I mean, I've been here since a very young age, and I've picked up so many American ways of doing things and I guess beliefs and stuff like that. Um, when I went to Europe, well, my father passed away like in 2021. God bless his soul. I miss you, Dad. Um, I was so excited to go back and first of all visit my father's grave, and because that's my duty, right? I had to do that. But then again, I was so excited to go and visit because it's been so long. I mean, almost 30 years since I've been there. And it's been 30 years since the war pushed me out of my town, out of my apartment, out of our life as a family that we had there. Uh, everything changed overnight for me. It was like a nightmare. I mean, overnight, I had to grow up overnight. But anyways, I went back, and I was so excited, to go back and maybe even see some old friends and visit my grandma's old place and stuff like that. But instead, when I got there, I felt very strange. I couldn't, I couldn't tell if I feel good that I'm there, or I felt bad. I felt uncomfortable that I was there. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like wars are terrible. They tear families apart. Forever, your life changes. For some people, it changes for the worse, and for some people who get extremely lucky, they do extremely well. But for most of us, uh, war, when you run and go to live in some other country, it usually doesn't turn out real well. It takes a long time to get used to. It takes a long time to learn the language, to get used to the people, to get used to the traditions, to get used to the system, the way things are run, the way things are done, the holidays, I mean, even the air is just different. I mean, everything is just different. I remember when I arrived to New York for the first time. I mean, it was like, it was crazy. Like I remember arriving to JFK Airport in 1994, and I had two different color shoes, like because I didn't have any other shoes. I only had like a pair of pants and whatever I had on me. That was that. I didn't have any extra clothes that I brought with me or anything like that because we were extremely poor. Well, we only had enough money to get us here, and then once we got to New York, we stayed with some of our cousins and stuff like that, and my dad picked us up, picked up odd jobs and worked on the roofs and stuff like that. Um, but I remember walking through the airport when we got picked up by my uncle's wife's sister. So she's like my my family, like second or third cousin or something like that. I don't know what that makes her to me, but anyways, we were walking through the airport and just everything was so bizarre and unreal and just even the lights didn't seem to like match my eyesight. Like the air I was breathing in was affecting me, you know. But what really hit me the most was I've seen people like just sleeping and begging for money in this dirty clothes that hasn't been washed for years. And I, I remember turning around and asking the lady that picked us up. I said, "Ma'am, what is going on? Why are these people sleeping on the ground?" She's like, "Oh, they're just homeless." Like I'm like, "What do you mean homeless? What does that even mean?" Because where I come from, we didn't have homeless. It just didn't exist. Okay, plain and simple. We had people they called like we had few people here and there. You would be able to find a person here and there, like begging for money, but that wasn't because the system was bad. That was because something personally happened to them and they lost their house, their home, their family. But that wasn't because the system did it to them and ended up on the street. In this country, the system is directly blamed for people being on the street. And at the time when I was 15, when I came here, I was 15 going to 16, I believe. I didn't understand why these people were sleeping on the ground. This lady said, "Oh yeah, they're just homeless people." And I remember my mother, who is such a good woman. My mother would give you a shirt over her back any time of the day. Such a good woman she is. And my father was really good person, good people. And she reaches out for her wallet, and we had, I think, $20 to our name. She pulled out five out of $20 that we had, and that's all we had. We had nothing else. And she gave $5 to this homeless person. And then this lady that picked us up, she says, "Oh my God, what are you doing? Why are you giving him that money? Are you insane? Are you out of your mind?" I'm like, "Whoa, what is going on?" The man is literally hungry. Uh, See, that's just like she will never understand that, the lady, because she grew up here, and it's almost like a normal thing here, right? To see people sleep on the streets, and you just kind of walk by, you don't even notice them, you know. But my mom noticed, and I've noticed for sure, and we wanted to help this person right off the bat. That's just the mentality. We're just a different kind of mentality of people, and um, I feel like everybody should be like that. I think everyone should help if they see someone on the street begging for money. Um, but then you have some homeless people that don't want to be helped. I remember I lived in New York from 94 to 2000. So like 6 years in Brooklyn, right? On Myrtle Avenue. And God, I think I'm having a brain fart. I was going to say something pretty important. Oh yeah. So yeah. I got a job to install um, stereo systems over in Amsterdam Avenue, and but I've lived on Myrtle Avenue in Brooklyn, and I would take the L train every morning to go to work. I would get off on 14th Union Square, and then I would take another train. I believe it was either N or N train, I believe, and then one more stop, and then I would walk to work. Right, but right next to my house, maybe a few blocks up from where I live in the apartment, there was a subway station, right? Um, and I would see this same man, same guy. Every time when I go there in the morning, he would be there. Every time when I take the train back at night, he would be there, right? Um, I actually lived there with my girlfriend at the time, my wife right now, but at the time we were like, hey, why don't we just offer this guy to stay with us? Give him food, shelter for maybe for a weekend. We'll let him shower, give him some clothes. There was a lady on the subway. She started a conversation of me and my girlfriend wanting to help this homeless person, right? That's there every day. And she said, guys, don't help him. And I said, why? She goes, well, I've already tried to help him. And she said, I brought him to my house. He agreed to come. He agreed to get help. And I've had him for like a week. He was in my house for like a week, she said. I've, you know, I've taken to hairstylist to get his haircut, to get shaven, and he showered at my house, and I gave him a suit and some clothes and some socks, and he lived with me for about a week, and then just one day, the guy just disappeared, right? And he was right back on subway. And then she confronted him, and she said, hey, when she saw him next time on subway, she's like, hey, what's going on? Like, I spent all this money and try to help you and give you a place to stay and give you all this clothes, and I really wanted to help you. And the guy said, sorry, I just can't do it. I like sleeping in subways. I, that was that, and I couldn't believe the story. I really couldn't. I didn't know whether I should believe this lady or maybe I should have proceeded with trying to help this guy, but we listened to the lady and we didn't. So, but it's just amazing to me that he had all that help, and he just decided to go right back into the subway and stay there. Um, But not everybody's like that. Like there's only a very small percentage of people that are want to sleep on the street, you know, and they're just used to it. You know, after if you sleep on subway for 10 years, then I guess that's your home, right? I mean, I don't know. Um, Fortunately, this never happened to me, but there were a lot of veterans in New York who had like blown off arms and legs who were there begging for money, and it's just a shame what happens to veterans in this country and how they're treated. It's just terrible. Just terrible. And they're actually mostly veterans, you know. But yeah, so just a lot of things I really don't understand in this country that I believe that there's so many things that could have been fixed very easily. I mean, they say it takes $20 billion to end homelessness in this country. I don't know if that's true. They keep saying that. I mean, if that's true, then we could have ended homelessness many, many, many times over. 100 times over. 1,000 times over. But we didn't. Why? I don't know. Like I said, we just gave Argentina $40 billion. We could have ended homelessness in this country twice. All right, guys. Please comment down in the comment section. Please give me a thumbs up. Smash that like button. Subscribe, and thank you all for watching. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. And I will find something else to talk about. Take care of yourself. Peace.